Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Cafecito Q&A. I'm Joel Berrocal with the National Puerto Rican Chamber of Commerce. And today we have one of our newest partners joining us today. So we have Keiko Yoshino, who is the Executive Director of the Puerto Rico Blockchain Trade Association, one of our newest community partners. We're really excited about this partnership and the education we could bring to our members and go from there. So without further ado, we'll jump right into it. Keiko, I'm happy for you to join us today. So we'll get right into it. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up in Puerto Rico, how you got there?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. And I am thrilled that we've been able to partner with the NPRCC. I moved to Puerto Rico 2 years ago. I'm originally from upstate New York. And then I went to law school in Indiana and moved to Washington, D.C. after. And I worked in local government, specifically the mayor's office in Washington, D.C. in economic development. And then I worked at the city legislature, city council for a few more years. And then I was in public housing, legislative work before I moved to Puerto Rico. So it's about 7 years. Understanding like systems and best practices in economic development. And then January 2021, my friend was visiting and he's like, why don't you come down and see it? And so I did. I booked a one-way ticket and a carry-on, and then I fell in love with Puerto Rico and the people.
Wow.
It's super easy to do. So I stayed for 4 weeks. I was like, I'm gonna move here. So
that's amazing.
So yeah, and that's how I got here.
And you're based in the San Juan area, I imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. San Juan. Yeah, I live in San Thursday, and I work out of offices in Condado.
Oh, that's awesome. That's all. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that with a lot of our members and things like that, where there's people come for vacation, a trip, maybe a business trip, and they fall in love with the island, and it's great. I think the more diversity we can bring to the island, the more new faces, new ideas, and things. Again, we'll get into it. But I just love the things that you guys are doing and the education you're bringing to the island, to the business owners and stuff like that. So on that point, so what are you guys, what are you working on now as we speak? What's going on? How are things? What are some of your initiatives and goals and stuff at the moment?
Definitely. I created the Puerto Rico Blockchain Trade Association in 2021, and our goal was to build a more accessible and inclusive crypto community. That's now evolved into Web3 adoption, trying to expand Web3 adoption in Puerto Rico through education, advocacy, and community building. Yep. Our vision is for Puerto Rico to be the next Silicon Valley in this wave. So Web 1 was the internet, Web 2 is social media, and Web 3 is this new wave of the internet that's being built right now that's decentralized and self-sovereign. You own your own data and basically addresses a lot of the problems of Web 2. And there's a critical mass of people moving to Puerto Rico, in part because of favorable taxes, in part because they just love being on a tropical island with other builders and entrepreneurs. So the ecosystem is really growing. And to that end, we are working on 3 initiatives in 2023. Our first is building strategic partnerships like we are with NPRCP.
Yep.
We are working with the Chamber of Commerce. We just recently signed with Puerto Rico Science and Technology Trust. We are partners with the CUD and PRMA. And the idea is to just be a resource for local organizations and associations to what is Web3 and why does it matter to me? We just want to be someone that can provide reliable information and to see how it can be used for good, for everyday problems. Yeah. So strategic relationships. The second is Web3 adoption. We are working with the University of Puerto Rico. We're working with private universities, and we're trying to stand up for credit courses in Web3 for college students because having the talent on the island and staying here will prepare them for the jobs that will enable them to work in this entrepreneurial ecosystem in Puerto Rico to build out the Silicon Valley type-esque environment here. So, you know, if the jobs come, but we don't have the workforce trained. So the idea is to integrate a pipeline of talent so that we get to this critical mass of building here that no one has to leave the island, because everyone that I talk to doesn't want to leave. They want to stay here. This is home, and I understand why. It's beautiful. So we just want to help with that. The other thing we're looking at is building a public land title for Puerto Rico. We are really passionate that like Web3 doesn't matter unless it's helpful to people. And so in this instance, with 70% of the population making less than $20,000 and 85% of the food is imported, and a dozen eggs is like $7.50, like what can we do to alleviate some poverty issues here? And for my background in economic development, you need to have a long-term strategy, but you can only do that if you know where your land is. And because of titling in Puerto Rico, 50% isn't titled, and you don't know where the land is. The idea is by using Web3 and blockchain, we'll provide transparency and clarity for clean title. So then it's more attractive to be developed, to grow for our farming, and you know, just more sustainable, more productive use of land in Puerto Rico, with the hope that the economics will then flow to helping the everyday person make groceries cheaper. If we could reduce our dependency on imports. So that's strategic partnerships, that's Web3 adoption. And then our last bit is L60 Puerto Rico. So we have a website, l60pr.com. And the goal of this initiative, which started last year, was to explain how Act 60 is for everybody, how it's accessible and can be unlocked to save local entrepreneurs in Puerto Ricans are eligible. There's 73 incentives, 72 they're eligible for, 73 if they were off island between 2006 and 2014. But demystifying how they can access them, right? Because this bill was 420 pages in Spanish and not legible. So we wrote a white paper last year in Spanish and in English, and it's on the website and you can download it. And we're hosting a number of workshops and hope to do a workshop with you all of, you know, getting the word out to the diaspora. You can come back and you can create a business, and you can only pay, you know, 2 to 4% as a small business owner, or, you know, you are young and you want to start your own business. Great, young entrepreneur, you don't pay any taxes up to $100 million or the age of 36. Like there are all these great incentives for Puerto Ricans to access, and you know, we just want to share that knowledge. So those are the three things that we're working on this year.
No, that's absolutely amazing, and that's part of the reason, you know, we were so interested in the community partnership, because I think there's just so many alignments. I love with the Act 60 education one. I think you're one of the first organizations that were doing that type of stuff in Spanish and putting that out there. So that's a differentiator that we really liked. Obviously, tapping into the diaspora is something that I think one of my biggest things has always been that I don't think the organizations on the island and stuff tap into that resource enough, and that connection, and that's part of our mission is connecting that bridge. The other thing you talked about is the title of the land and property and stuff. It's such a problem. We ran into it not only when you're talking about economic development, but after the hurricanes and the earthquakes and stuff, we ran into tons of those issues because of that exact reason. So overall, it's just absolutely amazing the things you guys are working on and the things that you're looking to accomplish there. And we're happy to be a part of it. We look forward to the collaborations that'll come out of it, the education we can bring, and the value we can bring to the ecosystem, to the economy, to everyone. So it's exciting. So on that note, we'll kind of end it with kind of like, so what's your, kind of touched on it a little bit, but kind of what's your vision for the future in Puerto Rico, and the things you hope to really accomplish moving forward?
My end goal is to see Puerto Rico prosper. I think there is an incredible amount of talent here. The people are some of the kindest, most resilient people, with just being, unfortunately, in the traffic of hurricanes. And I would really like to see, everyone working together to figure out how we can make Puerto Rico stronger, more resilient, and whether that's infrastructure to education, to making people believe that you know, they can be anything, they can do anything, because it's really hard when 58% of the children live in poverty, of this idea that there's a chance for them to be successful, right? And so if we can change that scarcity mindset, if we can show a path to self growth and sustainability and entrepreneurship, right? Like maybe university isn't for everyone, but I'd really like to see transforming that culture of that energy that's coming to the island of opportunities. But it isn't just tax incentives. It's about loving this place, right? Like a part of me, I have a sense of like it's home for me, and I want others to feel this way. And so I think that's just the long-term picture. Is I want to help Puerto Rico prosper, and our association through education and community building is working toward that goal.
Oh, I couldn't agree more with you. I love it. I think that's part of the things we're trying to do too. Is I think a lot of these, Act 60 and opportunity zones and things like that, they're tools. They're tools that are to be utilized. But I think the most impact is when people like yourself come here and they want to be a part of the community and want to help and do their part and just contribute. So I just love it. So again, happy that you were able to join us today and kind of give our audience an idea of what you're all about and everything you got going on. We have a lot of things coming up moving forward, in-person things and in-person events in Puerto Rico, virtual educational content. We're doing stuff in the diaspora. So just overall, just really exciting time. So for everybody watching, we'll be sure to share all the links where you can learn more about the Puerto Rico Blockchain Association, Trade Association, and Act 60 and everything they got going on. So yeah, again, wonderful for you having us. Keiko, did you have anything you wanted to add before we close this one out?
No, please. This was amazing, and I look forward to doing an event with you guys very soon. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly, and we'll help you the best I can.
Absolutely. So once again, thank you everybody who for joining us, for watching today. We'll be sure the links will be down below for more information about the chamber. Feel free to reach out to us, and then if you want to contact Keiko directly and learn more about everything she's got going on, all the info will be down there. So thank you again, and everybody have a wonderful day.